Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts. In today's episode, we are talking about no more excuses. This is something I've been wanting to talk about for the last couple of weeks. And, I'm going to do my best to really try to give you my heart today and let you know that first and foremost, this is something that all of us deal with. It is so easy to make excuses in life of why we can't be the best that we can be. And lately, what has stimulated this podcast is, I work with a lot of athletes and I also work with quite a few parents of trying to help them. And, it's one of those things where over and over I catch myself talking to these parents or talking to these athletes and it's the same excuses. It's the same thing over and over, working with the dad, on trying to help him, overcome his fitness struggles and maybe his bad habits. A year later, we're talking about the same conversations over and over, working with some of these athletes that'll be on course for about a week. And then next thing you know, they make excuses. I'm traveling or, school starting up, all these different things. And I wanted to give you a message today that hopefully not only resonates with you, but really gets you excited internally about saying no more excuses. I realize that I have one life. I have one shot to be the best in my life that I can be. And I'm going to share with you a few stories today. I'm going to share with you some points, some notes, some things that I really try to do to keep myself on track. And I understand my responsibility as a leader, as a parent, as a husband, as someone leading a company to really take these things that I'm going to share with you, not only to help and benefit you, but to help and benefit me. Something that's going to drive me every day to be the best I can be. So parents, athletes some athletes listen to this podcast too. One thing I'll tell you is we are all, in this game of life. And when I talk to athletes or parents that are making these excuses, one of my favorite quotes by Benjamin Franklin is this. Benjamin Franklin said in a quote, "He that is good at making excuses is seldom good for anything else." We have a responsibility, guys, to lead others and to set a standard. And that's what I really want to talk about today. I'm going to read that quote one more time. He that is good at making excuses is seldom good for anything else. This one friend, I won't call him by name because he might listen to this podcast, but I got off the phone with him the other day and he's been telling me these same excuses for about a year. And I guarantee you, if I talk to him a year later, he'll be telling me the same excuses again. And it's just sad. So let's get into this.
Let's go. What up?
Excuses turn into habits, which starts off as a little neglect, which turns into a disease. And I'm a firm believer in that statement. As we are getting into our life and our daily routine, it's so easy. And I'm going to give you some examples of what I've dealt with in the past week of some different situations. It's so easy I just won't do it today. And then I won't do it the next day. And then I won't do it the next day. And that neglect turns into a disease. What we're going to talk about today is a way to overcome you making excuses. And I guarantee you that the 99% of you listening to this right now, if you looked at your finances, if you looked at your fitness, if you looked at your family structure, if you looked at your business structure, you would have to raise your hand and say, I am not where I want to be in life. And I'm a firm believer of all that is coming to a head here by talking about the excuses that we continue to make. See, we are all tempted to make excuses, and I'm going to talk to you about a few of these things to help you make those better choices. But this is something, as I reflected this morning in my study time, throughout my career in my life, from my 20s to my 30s to now in my 40s and about to be 50-year-old, I look and say, okay, where was I in the zone? And I was in the zone when I was making no excuses. We all have different lives and situations, but here's the thing, we all have 24 hours in a day. And a lot of people, when I'm visiting with them, whether it be dads or, moms or whoever I'm trying to direct and give guidance to, they say, well, but you have a different life. You can write your own schedule. You can do, guys, I am very fortunate, but I will tell you, I do have a lot on my plate. I mean, I am a CEO of a nutrition company. I do have two boys, one going into his senior year that we're looking for colleges and trying to find him a home to play baseball. I have a sophomore that plays football, baseball, and lacrosse. We're traveling on the East Coast in the summer, on the West Coast. We're doing all these things. I have, company meetings. I have social media messages that sometimes take me 45 minutes to respond to in the mornings. I have marketing team that I'm trying to give good direction. I have my own personal fitness. I have my company direction. I have my customers that are very valuable to me. I want to bring value to them. We are leading, this movement of sports nutrition and everything that we're trying to do. But you can't just say, well, you're able to do your workouts, but I can't, because no, you've got to look at this and say, I quit making excuses today, and I'm going to get my life and my situation in control, and I'm going to go be the best that I can be. I'm telling you guys, you've got to stop spending time justifying your situation. And that was my next point. And I always get ahead, and I apologize, is stop negotiating with self. And this is something that this past week I went through a situation where the manufacturer made a mistake on a product, and they called me that evening and I identified that, and then all night I didn't sleep. And this week I had a go of what I wanted to accomplish in the weight room, and I kind of slacked off a little bit because I made excuses this summer, and that's what also stimulated this podcast. And I said, this week, here's my workout. I used the CoreVive app, and I already plugged in all of my workouts throughout the week. And I said, here's my workout Monday morning. Here's my workout Tuesday morning. Here's my workout Wednesday morning. I'm going to get my routine down again in the morning times of doing the cold plunge and doing all these things. And here it is. I get this phone call in the evening, and I didn't sleep good. I'm sore because I'm hitting my workouts hard. And the first thing that comes to my mind when I get up is I'm not going to my workout. I'm going to go ahead and run up to the manufacturer, see what we can do to fix this. And I have all these reasons that's going through my head. Like, I can't do this because of this. And, I really don't need to go work out this morning. I need to do this and I need to do that. And I looked at my list that I wrote in my journal. And I said, no more excuses. I'm hitting my workout. I'm following my plan. I will get to the manufacturer as soon as I can, but I'm going to take care of this business. See, all of us have these things that gets through at us in life. And one thing that really will help you is understanding you know what you're supposed to do, but we don't want to. And we've got to switch that to say we do the want instead of the need, where we need to be doing the need instead of the want. And the reason that this is important, I was talking to an athlete the other day, and I was trying to explain to him that everything compounds. Now, most of you are adults that listen to this, and you have understood the compounding of interest. And it's a powerful tool. The way 1,000 can turn into 1,500, and 1,500 can turn into 2, and 2 can turn into 3, and 3 can turn into 4. And I'm working with this student athlete, and he's trying to get up to 190 pounds by January. And here's what I told him. I said, man, here's the big picture of this. If we follow this structure of eating this many calories, this much protein, this much carbs, this much fats. We follow our workout plan to a T of we know what we're going to do on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. We know what our recovery day we're going to do. We know when our long toss days are. We know what we're going to be doing here. I said, here's the thing. We are going to hit 190 pounds. But here's the most important part of the puzzle. You are going to have this self confidence that is going to compound and compound and compound. By the time we get to January, what's going to be powerful is not just you hitting the baseball further because you're heavier and you're stronger, but it's going to be your mindset. And today, that's what the message is that I wanted to portray to you parents that's listening to this. I want to encourage you to stop making excuses and get into this zone and this understanding of how things are compounding when you take full responsibility, when you decide that you are going to quit choosing what you want to do today as far as what I call instant gratification and choose long-term gratification of understanding that I'm going to do what I need to do instead of what I want to do. It's called delayed gratification. So, making good decisions. What are some tips? Here's some tips that I'll give you is make good decisions early in the day. What is your morning routine? You hear on social media all the time about morning routine. You need to do the sauna. You need to do the cold plunge. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do, but I'll tell you that you need to get where you're making good decisions early in the day. You get up at this time. I'm going to read the first 10 minutes. I'm going to write some things in my notes. I've made a plan the night before of what my workout is going to do. I drink my Corvive Energy pre-workout, and then I go straight to the gym. And you say, why is that so important? I can work out in the afternoon. Yeah, you probably can. But I'm going to tell you, for a man that's about to be 50-year-old, I did it all from my 20s to 50. And my life has been indefinitely a succeeding times, my most successful times in my life is when I write out a plan the night before and I wake up the next morning and I get after it. So make that plan the night before. And then here's something that's big for me that I've been trying to work with a few parents and working with a lot of my athletes that I'm talking about. When you make that plan the night before, you have to make a commitment to honor your commitments. See, I'm committing to myself, and that's why this self-compounding confidence just takes on a whole new animal. When you wake up the next morning and you don't feel good, maybe you didn't sleep good, maybe you got home late from a ball game, maybe, a parent was sick and you had to go see them in the hospital. I don't know what that situation, it's going to happen. But once you make a commitment to honor what it is that you said you are going to do, your confidence is going to go through the roof. I can tell you over and over different stories of when I woke up and I didn't want to do it, but I did what I had to do, and it's life-changing how it compounds. The next point is focus on the present. God has given me this day, and I will use it as will. Stop focusing on what you didn't do yesterday. Stop focusing on what you didn't do last week. Stop focusing on the trash that's in your life from a month past or a year past or 2 months past. We all have this day as a special day. We can't buy this time back. It is a limited resource. And by making excuses, guys, all we're doing is we're saying, we lose, and then the less chances we have to fulfill the true potential, it's not going to happen because we lost that day. We have one opportunity in today. And every day I tell my athletes, you got to wake up with the champion's mindset. You got to wake up and say, I don't have to eat this food. I get an opportunity to eat this food. You got to wake up and say, I don't have to eat or don't have to go to workouts. I get an opportunity to go to these workouts. As a parent, and I'm going to get into this and don't leave because I've got something I want to tell you about that I'm going to be starting September 1st, is I want you parents to have that same mindset of getting up every day and say, I get to go do my workouts. I get to go cook my boys' breakfast or my girls' breakfast. I get an opportunity to show them my love that morning and my positive attitude and clear direction of where I'm headed that day. I get to talk to them about what their goals are and what things I can do to help them with what it is that they need. See, we have to focus on the present because God has given me this day and I will use it as will. And I'm going to win today, not lose today, because only way I'm going to get to my full potential is to win as many days as I can. Next point is effort and perseverance. Hard work and never quitting. The first time you quit, it's hard. The second time, it gets easier. The third time, you don't have to even think about it. When I'm talking to a dad the other day, he's like, Jeremy, I'm excited about you putting me together a workout plan. I'm excited about, me following the right protein, and I'm excited. He said, but I've got excited about things like this before, and I quit. And I'm, again, not going to say his name, but I said, hey, we've all did that. Quitting one time is no big deal. Quitting twice, then we start seeing a problem. But quitting 3 times, you're going to be a quitter. Are you a quitter? See, you parents have got to understand that, and I'm going to talk about this here on my last couple points more in detail. Your kids are watching you. And if you say, I want to do anything I can do to help my kids be prosperous in life, I want them to be able to be the best that they can be, I'm telling you, you've got to be the example. Next point is what helps me stay on track of not making excuses is the impact on others. How can I bring value to others by being the best that we can be? And I think I missed this point up at the top because I got excited about getting started. But you making excuses don't just affect you. It affects everyone around you. And it's one of the most selfish acts that you can do. So if you look at, being focused in the present and effort and perseverance, why are we doing this? We are doing this for we can impact others. See, I want to be known as that person in the community that people can look up to and say, this is someone you can trust. This is someone that you can follow. And you need that same desire. You need that same desire as a mom, as a dad that walks into a house and your son, your daughter is going to look at you as an example, that you're making an impact on them. You're giving them motivation because they saw you go to the gym at 5:30. They saw you say no to the chocolate cake. They saw that you said no to the happy hour because they are looking at you and they say, that's the example that I can follow. Number 8, preparation and planning. Looking into the future and decide where you want to be and make a plan. I was actually writing out some new goals for me for this last part of the year, and I was writing out new goals for where I want to be next year. And I got excited, basically the direction of the company, the people that I'm working with. And, I've got some new people that I'm really excited about bringing in to be a part of the company that is longtime friends that is going to help the company move into a new direction. And I got so excited as I'm writing out these goals that I couldn't even hardly sleep at night. And I get excited because I see the vision of how many people that we can impact, how many families we can give clear direction on nutrition and what you need to do for your body, and how we can help these athletes not only from nutrition but helping them with personal development, how we can help these parents recognize that they are put here on this earth to be the best example that they can be for these athletes, how we can be known as a company, as a brand that all the families can trust and point to and say, you know what, I know if they make a hydrate, that hydrate has to be the best. And I feel that responsibility of making sure that that obligation is true and all these different things. But you have to look ahead and see the future and get excited about the future, and then say, hey, how can I make a 90-day plan to start moving in that direction? Next is managing your time appropriately. I was the worst at this, and I still struggle with this from time to time. And the reason why is because I had to learn how to say no. And if you look at some of the most successful people, whether that be in athletics with Kobe Bryant hitting the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, getting good food, and then going back and hitting a workout again. If you look at, the Warren Buffetts, they have really good time management, and they learn how to say no. And that was something I struggled with in my 30s. I'm one of those givers. I have a giving heart. I wanted to help everyone. I would say yes to every board. I would say yes to every booster club. I would say yes to everything. And I learned how to say no. And I would say, not right now, that does not fit my schedule, but if something comes up, I'll let you know. Now, does that mean to say no? I'm not saying say no to a friend in need that can't change a tire, that's your next door neighbor, and you need to go do that of service. I'm talking about the no to the 5 people that ask me a week to buy me coffee, to eat lunch with me, to all these different things. And it's not that I don't want to, it's because I can't say yes to everything and then take care of my priorities. So what do you mean by that, Jeremy? I can't say yes to all of these different things when then my family is neglected, my responsibilities is neglected, my company, all these different things. You've got to decide and write this down today. What matters to you? Decide that now. Write it down. My family, my business, my customer base. And you have to be a visionary, and you have to decide what it is as far as your core values and purpose. See, once you figure out my core values, my purpose, and then someone asks, can we do coffee this day for 15 minutes? And it's not 15 minutes, it turns into an hour. Trust me, sometimes an hour and a half. And then that person asks you to go to lunch, and this person asks you to go to the happy hour, and this person, what's going to happen is we are going to let all these little neglects from our family, our business, our personal fitness turn into a disease. The last part, and then I'm excited to tell you about something, so don't leave me here. I read a book, and this book in my 30s made a big impact in my life, and I tried to find the name of it this morning. I couldn't find it, but there was a famous coach that coached at the University of Alabama. And I'm trying to tie all this into, why, Jeremy, do I need to really get excited? Why do I need to have a vision? Why do I need to have core values? Why do I need to have a purpose? Why do I need to push myself instead of make excuses? This is the most important part of the podcast. Bear Bryant, one of the most successful coaches ever in Alabama, he gave a speech one day, and in this book, it gave the whole speech, and I wish I could have time to read this speech to you. It's powerful. But he said, here's the most important time in our life, and that's the dash. And the dash is the line between the start date and the end date. He said, you know what? Not very many people probably know the day I was born. And not very many people will probably remember the day that I die. But he said, every person that come in contact with me, they will remember that dash, that line in between the start date and the end date. And I reread that book about 3 years ago, and I read that speech several times as I was preparing for this podcast. And as I really wrote out my goals again the other day for this last part of the year and for next year, I got this new excitement and I got this new energy and fire in me saying, you know what? I've done some okay things in my life at up to 49 years old. But I got excited saying, knowing what I know now and with everybody around me, how much greater could I make this dash, this line in between the start date and the end date? And that's what I really wanted to try to deliver this message for you parents is, yes, I will help your kid build a meal plan. Yes, I'll help him figure out how many calories he's burning, how much protein he needs, when he needs his carbs for fuel, when he needs his fats, and why he needs his fats. Yes, I will try to help hold them accountable to hit their workouts and all these different things. But you want me to tell you really how I can help you, your student athlete? Is by helping you. And that's why I wanted to tell you that I am working on a plan that I'm going to try to launch September 1st. And I'm going to name this plan, I Will Lose for You Will Gain. And the reason I'm naming it that is because you as a parent, if you want your kids to see gains, will you lose? And what I mean by that is, will you lose the weight you need to lose to be that example? Will you lose the excuses that you've been making of not being the best parent you can be, for they will gain? See, I'm a parent as well. I know how much we love these kids. I mean, I have really done everything I can do to help with Pearson figure out where he's going to be going to college. There is nothing that I wouldn't do for my kids. I know you feel the same way. So the question I asked you, do you love them as much as I do that you said today, no more excuses? Do you love them as much as I do to say, I'm going to write out some new goals? Do you love them as much as I do to say, I'm going to follow a meal plan. I'm going to follow a structure in my life of getting up early, less social media, more personal development books, more gym time, less bad calories, things that's not positive and bringing positive energy into me. Do you love them enough to say, enough is enough, no more excuses, and now I'm really ready to be that example for my student athlete? Am I really ready to fill in that dash in between the start date and the end date to say, I recognize that I have not been the best that I can be, and I only have one life, and I'm going to focus on it one day at a time. I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to prepare and never quit. I'm going to impact others, and I'm going to fill that dash into the line the way God wanted me to fill it in. So on September 1st, I'm going to choose, and my producer Mario and I are probably going to choose around 25 to 30 parents. And I'm going to provide the Corby fitness app with them. I'm going to provide them a structure of macros. I'm going to help them with a workout plan. And then not only that, I'm going to schedule personal time with them to talk about their personal goals, their fitness goals, If they want to talk to me and ask questions about their athletes, Jeremy, I've got this kid this age. Would you recommend travel sports here, or what would you recommend? I'm going to try to give you, not that I have every answer, but I'm going to try to spend that time getting to know you and giving you that direction, sharing with you the mistakes that I've made, sharing with you the things that I wish I would have did different, giving you that inside perspective of what it takes for you, number one, to be that example, but number two, to you be that good leader to guide that student athlete in the best direction. So if you have interest, you're going to be seeing it on social media. But don't wait. If you have interest, go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok or however you're following me, or email. Our website, jeremyfouts.com. There's a place there, find my contact. And I tell you that I am in the best place that I've ever been in my life. And I want to bring that energy over into you and say, no more excuses. Let's go fill that dash in. Let's go be that example. Let's go raise those student athletes to be the best that they can be through our example. Thank you guys for joining the podcast. Share with a friend or a family member. Guys, we are subscribed to the channel that you listen to on Spotify, Amazon Music. Leave us a review. That's something that really means a lot to us. We're doing these for ad-free, and it costs money to produce these shows. But thank you for being a part of the Hard Truth Podcast. Have an awesome day.